No intro video today. We're just going to roll right into it because I'm a little bit late. That is my own fault. I had to get show notes and all that up. So we are going to be talking about a bunch of random stuff today. I know that Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, as usual, is getting in trouble. So we're going to cover that. But I'm here with two awesome people. We've got Tyler Yonke, I believe. I got it right that time.
You nailed it. Yeah. What's up, Clayton?
And Dickie Walnuts.
You pronounced that right as well.
The walnuts part.
It's Dickie Waldenberger, I think is the
Watch it. As an authority of Zionism, that's why I'm here today.
So, jumping right into that, I will mention that we do have Josh here as well. Josh's microphone is performing as it usually does. So Josh is going to hang out, and he might be able to add some stuff to the show as we go along, but we'll see how it all runs. For sure, we're going to be probably reacting to some videos on the topic of Zionism, reacting to some of these tweets here, and talking about what got people all butthurt with LPNH and just everybody in general. I put out a statement and quote tweeted the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire, and that started a little bit of my shit show. So we'll get to go through some of these replies as well. Starting with the tweet from New Hampshire, the first one. So this is it right here. Got it. So, Libertarian Party in New Hampshire tweets, the left thinks Russia meddles in our elections. The right thinks China owns most of our politicians. The truth is Israel does both. So that tweet was put out by LPNH, and shortly thereafter was quote tweeted by Stop Zionism, a group that does none of that. The Libertarian Party of New Hampshire is back with their grotesque anti-Semitism. How much more bigotry will you allow before the party affiliation is pulled LP National? So, I think specifically my issue with the way that Stop Anti-Semitism stated this is that being against the Israeli government makes you anti-Semitic. And so that specifically is something I want to kind of touch on from my point of view, and I think everybody else will probably have an opinion on it. I know Dickie does.
I what?
I said I know Dickie probably does.
Don't put words in my mouth, man. I don't want the helicopters finding me right now.
This is Mossad from above.
Right, dude. I see a guy right there at the window loading a Tavor. What is this?
Fucking. So I think what really pissed me off about this is there's this kind of opinion that a lot of Jewish people take that are in like these organizational positions, especially. You're talking about like this, which is this, what is it called? Stop Anti-Semitism, the ADL, these kind of groups that kind of do this hit piece stuff online. And one of those things is they will call anything anti-Semitic if you critique Israel itself. And like, this is something that's been debated a lot. And there's a few videos I think we'll probably watch later on that kind of go over it. But there is nothing anti-Semitic about saying that a government is bad. It does not matter what ethnicity makes up that government. It doesn't matter regardless. If you said that, then practically, literally, by that definition, anybody who critiques what Israel does as a country is anti-Semitic. And so that's what these organizations have done, if they've made it so that is the bar. So New Hampshire crossed over that bar according to their standard.
My criticism for the Israeli government isn't what exactly makes me anti-Semitic. It's all the other shit that I say.
Well, that's that. So, like, my position on the like whole of it is, I think Israeli people have a right to have freedom, the same way that Palestinian people have the right to have freedom. If you are inhabiting and forcefully took someone's home from them, they have a right to fight back for it. And that is the separation I had when I was younger with the faith. That separation came from me realizing that most of the people I supported within the Jewish community also were supporting that war. And that was something that I was just not going to be a part of, as far as like from a religious standpoint. I think it's grotesque. These people reference grotesque in the sense of anti-Semitism. I think anti-Semitism is putting Jewish people in Israel in harm's way by putting them on land that you know is somebody else's, that you know is going to get shelled, that you know is going to be attacked. Their own government is putting those people in harm's way. So it really triggers me when these groups try to use the anti-Semitic government argument, because that is like, I see that everywhere, and I got that in my responses to my own tweets that I put out. Y'all going to talk about Ryan Dawson acting like a sensitive little bitch? Yes, we are.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
let's fucking
we are.
go.
We are definitely talking about Ryan Dawson acting like a sensitive little bitch. I have that video, the clip queued up and everything. So,
That's right.
which actually we can do that now if we want.
Let's finish this, or at least let me say a few things. So my people have been big into stopping Semitism, my German folks. And maybe they're willing to stop anti-Semites as well, as far as spreading. I'm kidding. What's interesting there, it's a confusion of, Jews, you guys want to take everything. It's not only a race, it's a religion. It's not only the government, now it's the race, government, and it's all inclusive, right? You can't make any kind of contradictory comments. What's interesting for me coming into like libertarianism in the last several years was I was conservative, and I always pointed towards the South and the military and the conservative side being very pro-Israel, as like, we're not anti-Semites, and the left is all this. So it's a little bit different, and I think there is trouble of a serious political commentary, not Dickey stuff in here, which is to confuse or to allow some sort of anti-Jewish commentary to come through when you're just coming at Israel. So and so maybe that's part of the problem. But someone who listened to Ben Shapiro a lot over the years, he does like to, it's easy to gang up on the Squad and some of these others and to call them anti-Semitic, because they kind of are. But then some of it's just like, you're a little bit too sensitive on all that too. Well, and by the way, I sent you a tweet, Leighton, about Colorado. They showed the circle of the FTX guy, Biden, and Ukraine, and how the money just kind of circulates in there. And LP of Colorado is like, this is completely anti-Semitic, and I'm like,
it's not. It's
because the one guy's like rubbing his hands like this.
Yeah, and
he was rubbing his hands.
Earlier today, LP National posted a meme that contained anti-Semitic imagery. The moment this was discovered, the tweet should have been deleted. First off, never delete a tweet unless you actually fucked up a spelling or something. I don't. That shit's stupid. That there's no place for racism or bigotry in the libertarian problem.
I had to really search to find the racial aspect of this tweet, by the way.
Yeah, there really isn't much of one, and I will say this: the meme that they're referring to, which I can bring up here, I had it on Q, but I lost it because I just clicked on Twitter. This is the meme that they're referring to right here, and I don't know. I find this funny. I'm gonna be real. I laughed at it when I saw it. So
we have our favorite welfare queen. We have a dude with a Jufra who was literally rubbing his hands, and now we have the finished product, which is Gollum on top. So I don't understand what's the problem here.
So my taking from this is that FTX just fucked over a bunch of people and then took that money and donated it to a bunch of Democratic movements and candidates. So that is what this is showing.
It's actually worse. It's
what's the money laundering like?
Yeah, the Congress vote. We gave money to Zelensky, and then they were reinvesting it back into FTX, which then gave it back to Democrats.
Yeah. So it's demonstrating the exact reality of what took place. And it does it with a meme, and people are butthurt about it. It is what it is. The CLC has me blocked. No shit.
I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I kind of can see where people can get the wrong idea about this meme here.
I mean,
Speckles?
No, y'all know the Happy Merchant meme, right?
Yeah.
Like the Jewish caricature one. If you actually look at this and like superimpose that Happy Merchant meme over top, about 50 to 75% of fucking Jew boy down here is traced from that meme, like verbatim traced.
Yeah, but like you can say monkey DNA is like 99% of humans. I mean, 50-some% traced.
I saw the two photos next to each other. Like it's very possible somebody traced over it. My point is that
check your DMs. I sent it to you, superimposed over top of each other. It's exactly the same drawing. Some motherfucker got real lazy with their meme making this week. Tragic.
That happens. That does happen.
On Discord, well, again, my bad.
I think my further point is that it literally does not matter. Like the fact of the reality is the meme that they posted. Yeah, and I mean, looking at what you're showing me right now, I don't necessarily agree with you. I will show this. If actually I need to copy it over here. Well, I think somebody definitely used that as some form of inspiration. I don't necessarily think they traced that. Like literally sat there and traced it.
That's close. That's real close.
Are the hands the same?
The hands are exactly the same. The hands line up.
Well, then you got it.
If you move that picture down far enough, my point is that even if they superimpose this the way that you're saying, which is fine, okay, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know who posted it or who edited it. I don't know where they got the fucking meme from to begin with. But my point is, this guy is in the photos that are being posted directly under this tweet thread, doing this exact pose. So
yeah, he was doing it in the video.
If your claim is that, well, they copied this from this meme that already existed, well, no, they copied it from a photo of him doing that exact pose. So it's like it becomes this game of, well, are you a bigot or are you a bigot or are you a bigot? And I'm not into playing that. Like, it's a joke. Like,
Josh convinced me though, because reminds me of the stuff when I know Adam Fitzgerald and some of these others, they really hate like Alex Jones as an example, because they're like, here's all these conspiracy theories that are good, and then he gloms onto those, but then he spews ones that are really bad, and it makes it look bad. So you could have made this same meme without tracing this guy's hand, and I think that's what Josh is saying about the sloppiness. Then
I'm not disagreeing with you there.
LP did not. They think they drafted it. They just stole it and used it. So,
I just don't understand. Like, you're mad because Jewish people spend their money so well. Like, why do you hate like people being successful?
Well, first off, I don't think that's the point of the tweet. The point of the tweet
is spend their money well.
Well, no, actually, I don't think they
spend
do
other
at all.
people's money. This guy spends other people's money.
Well,
I think there is
money.
I'll address this very quickly.
Spend their own money.
I think there is a group of people who believe that Jewish people are more successful in business, but they in reality trade with higher risk. And that is always it. And I'll explain. It's been this way in the Jewish community since my father was still attending temples and doing this kind of stuff. This is just how the process works. The Jewish community will bet in business on unsure things a lot more often than the rest of the business community. What this means is that they lose a lot of money very often, but they also, when they do win very big and get into very big positions. So somebody playing the stock market, the stock portfolio, that is not necessarily smart, but it's not necessarily dumb either, because if you're all working to better your community, if you were Catholic, if you were Baptist, any other religious community, you'd be doing that exact same thing. So I don't have any problem with that. My problem specifically is with the fact that this company that was running this crypto scam, that was doing all of this, that ended up pooling all this money and doing it, did directly use that money to support democratic causes, most of which are being pointed at in this fucking meme. Like, the problem I have as a whole is that this is clearly being posted as a political satire joke. And a bunch of people quote tweeted it, taking it as a anti-Semitic jab towards a specific community, rather than the fact that you have Joe Biden, who's nothing to do with Judaism. You've got Zelensky, who's a leader of a fucking country, and you've got a business guy who stole a bunch of money. There's no, like, to me, like, it's going to be very difficult for somebody to tell me that isn't either a in-jest joke or a political satire post. Like, and it's no different than any satire cartoon that would be posted in a newspaper, other than the fact that it's racier. Like,
welcome to the internet, pussies.
Yeah,
it's like, and that is kind of what I'm saying to an extent. Is like, if this was in anything other than the format it was on Twitter, no one would give a fuck about it.
True.
Also, I realized I was blocking Dickie for a minute.
Drake does it all the time. Nobody complains about it because he's black. I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
Black. All you need some more melanin content in your skin, and you too can, be deemed anti-Semitic, unless you're Kyrie.
There's got to be a joke somewhere in business and Jews and hurricanes with their ships and things like that. I just can't find it.
So,
you're talking about the movie Risky Business? You ever seen that? Nobody? I got it.
Is that a silent film?
Okay.
It's a Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise. My dad brought it home. My mom was gone. He ended up showing it. It's like
my
full
dad
nudity.
brought it home in 1967.
Yeah, well, it's in the 80s probably, or 90s. I'll just say I couldn't sleep on. I had to sleep on my back for a few weeks after that, as a young teenager. Anyway, let's go on.
So
tripod.
I responded to some of this stuff. I quote tweeted the New Hampshire tweet and stated the first New Hampshire tweet, not the meme, but the ones talking about the Israeli government, and I stated that it's not anti-Semitic, and I said that all previous followers of Judaism, like so many, have abandoned the faith because of the destruction the Israeli government has caused. And so I want to touch on that briefly, which is, like, I was raised Jewish. I was born technically, in the beginning of my life, we were celebrating multiple holidays because of the way that my family was formed and the fact that both of my parents had different faiths. That changed because my dad eventually came over and joined, became Jewish and joined the thing, became Reformed, and that was the process he went through. My mother, on the other hand, was always that way, and so was everybody else in my family. So according to the way that Judaism functions as a religion, I am Jewish. Like, I have ancestors who were Jewish, sons of people who family who fought not only during World War II, but after that fact, working for the government for Israel. The fact is, I'm fully aware of, like, the heritage and the history of the religion and that stuff, and I'm okay with all of that. Like, you're allowed to practice your faith. I don't have a problem with that. What I specifically have an issue with, in the reason why I left and decided not to call myself Jewish in the same way anymore, is because specifically I do not want to support a faith that is willing to do what it has done in Israel to the Palestinian people, as an extension, destroying the faith. And I think that was done through Zionism. And so when I see New Hampshire calling out Zionist organizations, Zionist groups, that is exactly what political people should be doing right now, because that is right now you have a situation where the only way you are ever going to actually end the war in Israel and Palestine and stop the conflict is by purging the
Jews
style. Oh, God damn it. Purging the style of
Palestinians. I don't know which way you're going there.
Purging the style of politics that Zionism puts forward. You have to make it You have to make the Orthodox community, the Jewish community, realize that what Zionism is doing to Judaism is slowly destroying it, which is what it is doing. It is diluting the entire thing to the point where it will just be a trivial religion that does not matter, that teenage girls who are in their 16 will just one day start talking about on Twitter how they just reformed to Judaism and are going to temple. Like, that's what the religion will become under this. I think they know that. I think they want more numbers, and they want people to join the faith, just like the Catholics did back in the day. And the only way that they can get that to happen is by altering the way that the faith is practiced, which is against the faith. So it's like you end up in this little fucking loop of bullshit. And that is what Zionism has created. It's created a political stalemate where nobody can get anything done, and the entire time innocent people are getting killed. So, like, that was my specific reasoning for breaking away from that faith, is going, hey, you're not really doing what I think is faithful anymore. You're not adhering to the Torah, certainly. The Torah states you cannot steal from people. You cannot kill people. And it also states that you're not supposed to have a fucking Israel until the fucking Messiah comes. That's the whole point. So if you're not following the Orthodox faith the way that thousands of fucking Jews have over thousands of years, then you've altered it. You've changed it, and you should call it something different. I do. Zionism. And so that is the altered version of the faith. It is not. It's perfectly legitimate if you want to be a Zionist. I just don't think you're right. Like, so it's this position that, like, if you hold that position and you say you do not like Zionism, or you do not like what Zionism is doing to the faith, then you are branded as anti-Semitic. And, like, there's been full-on debates had on this. Christopher Hitchens, as much as I hate his opinions on religion, one of the best people to ever talk about this, who took it from a biblical standpoint as well as a historical standpoint, said this shouldn't be happening. So it's, I know that's a bit of a rant on my part, but
Holy shit. Spud in the chat says to excise the wound. Is that the wound that they have been creating on all of our dicks when we're born? And if so, if Judaism really is shrinking, will we all remain intact in future generations?
It is not that I think that Judaism is shrinking. I actually think that's the opposite. I think Zionism is growing the faith, but I think it's diluting what the faith stands for. So this is just a short compilation of Christopher Hitchens talking about Palestine.
Christopher Hitchens, let's go to Cambridge, Maryland. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. Mr. Hitchens, I have 3 direct questions, short questions for you, please. Do you feel that Israel has a right to exist within secure borders? Do you feel that the United States should intervene should Iran or Russia try to close the Straits of Hormuz? And would you seek relief from a 24-hour shoot-on-site curfew from any quarter in which relief might be found? Thank you.
All right, thanks for the call.
Very good questions, and I think I know what you're trying to pin me down on. On the first, yes, I do, but I think the securely recognized borders should not allow for Israeli colonization or occupation of the territory of its neighbors, which is what it's doing now. The right to exist argument has been used now to the point where what it's going to mean is that the Israel you're talking about will include the annexed and illegally occupied West Bank. So the right to exist argument is going to rebound on those who use it unclearly and who don't say what they mean by Israel. It's very interesting, the Israeli government has never said where it thinks the borders of Israel really ought to be and what it would settle for. I think it would be an immense help if Israel's going to insist on the right to exist, if it tells us where it thinks Israel's boundaries should be. Every other country does do that.
I'd better give you the straight answer. I think Zionism, the idea of building a state of Jewish farmers on Arab land in the Middle East, is a stupid idea to begin with. I've always thought so. My mother wanted to go and be a Zionist immigrant at one point. I tried to talk her out of it.
Because it's a dumb idea to begin with. And that's more of what I'm stating now, is that even if you believe Zionism works perfectly, and you created a perfect Israeli state where no Palestinians existed, and you had complete and utter control over the land, the reality of that would be that the Jewish faith would be diluted into an unrecognizable blob of what it used to be. It would destroy every tenet of the original faith. So that is, and again, I mentioned this in the Twitter thread of the conversation I had to begin with, where I said, like, the reality is, if you are for Zionism, you are anti-Semitic in a way. You are betraying communities. You are betraying communities of thousands of Orthodox Jews who believe exactly what I just said, which is that Israel as a country is against what Jews actually believed in. And there's an awful lot of Orthodox Jews who still believe that, who still believe that that is the reality. When Zionism became a thing, when it was progressed throughout Israel in the early 1900s, and then furthermore throughout World War II, the community that was arguing against Zionism were Orthodox Jews, and they were lied to and shoved to the side and didn't get a say. So you end up with the position now of the main purpose of all of this is to say, being against the Israeli government, being against what the Israeli government does, at no point in time makes you anti-Semitic. I don't think that meme, which is, in my opinion, a joke, and clearly a joke, is anti-Semitic. I just don't. I don't prescribe to the same. Like, listen, there are legitimate Muslim communities that will stone and throw things and hurl insults at Jews as they walk down the street. That's anti-Semitism. Like, if you want to go call somebody out, call some of these groups out that are actually doing that stuff. But the reality is, it ain't the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire on Twitter. And in the same way that if you want to bitch about, again, it's the same way of our people who argue about the economy in a small way when we're fucking giving away millions and fucking millions of dollars. It's like, it just doesn't. Those kind of arguments don't interest me.
You should get Ryan Dawson about this.
Okay, so let's move on from the Zionism discussion. We will move on from the Zionism discussion, and we are going to talk a little bit about this Ryan Dawson stuff. I'm going to bring up the Twitter account that had the clip on it, because that's what I'm going to need. So, some jokes were made on Reed Coverdale's Four Horsemen, which is a great fucking show. You should definitely go on. Yeah, a joke, a singular joke, uno joke. And that was enough to.
I'm gonna have to go through and make a little montage.
What you need to do first, though, when you do that,
before he left, he mentioned somebody rage quitting.
He did, yeah. I watched the show, and he did. He mentioned somebody rage quitting and then rage quit.
Yeah.
But you start from the beginning, and every time Ryan says something, Justin counters him with no, and then corrects him, and which is super annoying. But that's Justin. But for this context, it was actually, he was right, and I think that pissed him off more because it's like a 2-minute gap between his joke and then he corrected him some more about Bitcoin, and it was nonsensical reasons to do that. But there you go, those two, and then I think it was Ryan couldn't handle immediately. They already were going at it, and he couldn't handle like being corrected all the time, so he just was like, "Fuck it." And you're not going to get upset over Hiroshima.
Autistic people don't like other people's autism, I don't think.
Right. Why do we stick with Toad so much?
Like,
yeah, explain this. I'm gonna need a breakdown. So this is just a 10-second clip of him actually like taking off.
Guys, I think I'm out with this fat faggot making the Hiroshima joke. Y'all can enjoy the show without me.
Wow. That's the fucking limit for him? Wow.
By the way, Justin's response, like, he had to say something quick, and that was perfect. That's the limit?
That's right. But
Well,
what's interesting, and if he hadn't said Hiroshima joke, would anybody have known who he was really talking about?
No, that's...
Sorry, that's...
yeah.
That's so mean.
I love you all on that show. Just, I got to make jokes.
Yeah, I agree. The fact is like, I think he more of left because he was getting punched back a little bit, and then on top of it, you are right, he was completely wrong. So like, now you have to stick around and admit you're wrong.
Yeah, he could ding
In
the
the
bell
chat,
he wants, but yeah.
Can we bring up Ryan's appearances on TPH for context? Yeah, Ryan's over there, and I put it in the show intro. He's over there talking about 9/11 cocktails, and another joke about an Israeli soldier saying, "Oh, sorry, that baby had a Hamas base between your ears," you know, shit like that. But as soon as Justin, he's out. Maybe it was that little horn that Justin was growing on his head that was just distracting Ryan the whole time. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yeah. Or an aneurysm was going. I did have I'm gonna make jokes here, Justin. So he said he hadn't paid taxes in 10 years. Do you guys know of any unemployed people that pay taxes? It seems like a loophole of commentary, but no,
you're not wrong.
Okay. People I know don't pay taxes either. So
right. No, I think he said he paid his rent with Bitcoin.
I think at this point
rent. Imagine renting.
Pay more in. Oh, you fucking asshole. So this is another situation I wanted to cover. So
I own land and I'm a man.
I'm gonna let you guys. I think we'll read this chat real quick. I don't think Ryan needed to rage quit, but I'm not gonna act like Justin wasn't being a complete douchebag because he was. Yeah, and I think both parties would probably. Well, I think Justin would probably agree that he was being a little more, forceful because he quote tweeted the tweet before the show went live, kind of, saying that was going to be what happened. So I assume that was going to be kind of what happened. I know they didn't mix well, so it was bound to be fun regardless. Yeah, and that's what I said on Twitter. I said, literally as a reply, I said, that is what I would call a bitch move. That's the only way to explain that. It's just a bitch move.
I mean, we've seen Justin on TPH, and he goes hard, and you push back on him, and he's there for. I mean, that's his nature. So that's all Ryan had to do was push back. But whatever. He got really butthurt. Remember with Dave Smith?
Yeah, that was a fucking big problem with him because he wanted attention and he wasn't getting it.
Dickie, do you remember? Well, Leighton too. He used to be in that group chat.
He made one of the dumbest points I've ever heard. Yeah,
it was like a fucking 8-year-old trying to
shut me libertarian.
Oh, you are?
No, that was it's like, and I'm going, wait, what, like logically. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's like, but no, he got irritated because somebody wasn't giving him attention, and he spun out like an 8-year-old.
His logic was that he is banned from everything, and Dave Smith is not, because Dave Smith is an anarchist, and anarchism is stupid, and so they're letting this stupid guy keep talking, and who's a reasonable libertarian, he is banned because of that. And not because of anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was a funny story I saw pop up. This is Jeopardy slammed for insensitive and appalling clue. Now, I want you guys to give me your honest take on this because I don't know how I feel about this one. So they put in a question for Jeopardy that is, in 2021, fugitive Brian Laundrie ended his days in FLA's I'm not fucking pronouncing that, Myakachef Creek area, home to these long, toothy critters.
is it gators or crocs?
It's alligator.
That's
The
amazing.
answer is alligator. And I'm like, they used that fucking
It's so-
happened last year. Like, I'm like,
I don't know
might-
that's, by the way, they didn't say where the girlfriend was murdered. They just said where the murderer killed himself. So, which is not tasteless at all.
I guess actually you're right. It isn't. They didn't reference her. So you're not wrong.
No, they talked. They didn't. Imagine if they said, Dahmer offed himself in a certain place. People would be like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, What about all the gay men he killed?" No.
Dude, when they put Dahmer, they put Dahmer in the LGBTQ category
I
on
know.
Twitter. Or on Netflix, I about lost my shit.
That's amazing.
Oh, fucking. All right. So these are just some of the weird stories I saw this last week because the next topic we're getting into is pretty dark. So New York Post, this is an interesting one. I want your guys' take on this. So let's say you're a veteran, right? All right, you go and serve in the war. Let's say you went off to Afghanistan, Iraq, and you come back, and like so many veterans, you commit suicide. Right? This is sad. Your family has to go through this, and it's, I do like legitimately feel for that shit. Well, let's see what this organization is going to do after you die. Because this shit just didn't sit right. Like, I know what they're doing, but it just, the way it sounds.
Day weekend, there's new hope in the urgent race to find ways to prevent veteran suicide. Researchers are now using technology to find early warning signs that could help save lives. Our Aaron Gilchrist has more on this innovative approach as part of our series, Those Who Serve.
I'm already terrified.
And these were actually his dog tags that he had.
For Sarah Smith, her late husband will always have a special place in her home and her heart.
Every little thing that they own is just priceless.
James Smith served in the Marine Corps and the Army. He died by suicide in 2019 at the age of 41.
And the day that he died, I just remember saying that I could not let his death be in vain.
With that thought, Sarah gave up her husband's cell phone, becoming one of the first families to give to the Black Box Project, an effort by North Carolina-based nonprofit Stop Soldier Suicide.
We lose about 6,000 veterans and service members to suicide each year.
So far, Ford and his team have collected about 100 phones, laptops, smartwatches, and tablets from families of veterans who've died by suicide, believing our tech is a lot like an airplane flight data recorder, those black boxes.
We know what they're doing and thinking at 2 in the morning when no one else knows.
They are looking.
So the logic here is sound, which is, if you know what the person did before they died, maybe it'll help you prevent it. But what this sounds a lot like to me is, I'm going to kill myself, make the decision to take myself out of the mortal coil, right? That's the mindset of the people we're talking about in this hypothetical, right? And now when I go, my family is going to take all of my personal details that are on my computers, all of my private thoughts, all of my writings, all of my anything, and hand it off to a room full of fucking volunteers to go search through in hopes that they find some data that might show you Googled something fucked up that made you kill yourself. I mean, that's what they're doing. Like, I'm not saying this is totally bad and like you shouldn't do any of this. I'm saying it really doesn't fucking sit right with me. Like, it's like I could see all the ways that this could go fucking wrong.
You are government property to the grave and past the grave too.
Exactly.
This is though like when gun violence, and then you had a family member, Hogg, right? David, he's only out there because something happened, and so they're trying to find, if you want to give any sincerity to it, they're trying to find the reason why these things happen. So I'm sorry, evil's out there. People do shit. You have depression, what have you. That's really what this wife is trying to do. She's trying to justify.
This isn't on her or nothing.
She's trying to figure out why. Yeah, as some sort of justification, and it's not going to come this way, lady. You're not going to get peace with this. Also,
and this is how they're helping her through the grieving process. By the way. is by, instead of explaining to her that, you're not going to be able to just explain away this isn't going to ever happen. You're going to have to learn to find closure. Their reality is, let's continue this for another 3 years so you can think about this all the time.
And have you guys ever heard of, I've heard of BBC, but not BBP. That's
Tyler is bringing up the real tragedy of the shooting in Florida, and that's because David Hogg wasn't at school. But that's just me.
I think he might have been at school. Wasn't he hogging it in the? I don't know.
At least they didn't show their hand this time and named the school shooting false flag after a sandy desert merchant's nose.
Jesus Christ!
Wow.
Anyway, so
I disavow most of that. Some of that.
I'm sorry. I got to nuke every show I go on. I apologize.
Yeah, you're not coming back on my show.
Gang. Hell no. I have to weasel my way back on.
They're gonna
last time.
Tyler, you're getting banned for association. You don't have a show.
I know.
So the next story we're going to talk about, this one goes deep, and this is exactly why Tyler is here, because this is a bit of a court case one.
More BBC.
I fucking hope not. Not with the context of this. So I'm going to give some backstory here. A couple years ago, I came across a YouTuber named Patty Mayo. This guy's fake cop, bail bondsman, does these short videos where he is really aggressive, and I hated this shit. And a lot of cops hate these videos too, specifically because they make it seem like cops can be more aggressive than they actually are, and it also makes it seem like cops can get away with being more aggressive than they actually are. It's basically fake reality TV for cops. Well, that dude was on another person's channel back when I was kind of shitting all over him. So I hopped over to the channel he was featured on. The channel was called Adventures with Purpose. And it was a scuba diving channel at the time. The guy was looking for money and tools and shit like that in the water. It wasn't about anything spectacular. And I kind of ignored it. And then I came back to it later and they had switched the content up. Now they were doing more of a reality TV show in which they went around and looked for missing people inside lakes and creeks. And they were actually pretty successful. They found 8 or 9 missing people over the process of this YouTube show. But the guy who was running its name was Jared Lysick. And I believe he's actually related to the guy from Patty Mayo. And that is why they were in videos together. He used to work as a content creator for as a production person for another YouTuber. But then about a month ago, some things started going on. There were some posts on Twitter and on Reddit talking about how his sister was out there claiming some things that Jared had done, allegedly, of course. Well, that ended up coming to a head, and it came public that he had been charged and a bunch of other stuff. And so I wanted to kind of cover it in general, just because I think it's kind of a crazy fucking situation that not a ton of YouTubers are talking about. So Jared has been indicted by the state of Utah in 2 counts of, child rape. And these stem from this cousin of his. They are a Mormon family in Utah. They have a large family. And so from my understanding, she is claiming that the family helped to cover this up. And that this is something that happened back in, I believe it's 20 some years ago at this point. But this girl clearly is not super mentally stable. She definitely seems to have some issues that I would say are, probably due to some of the stuff she was dealing with, if this is true. But I have some of the court docs. I've got some of the statements that were made after the fact by YouTubers and things. But I think the most important thing is, here it is right here. I'm bringing up so these are the actual court docs here that were posted online and put out there. 1 second. Oh, I didn't even notice you had the doggy. I've got my doggy just showed up here with my dad. So 6th Judicial District, San Pete County, state of Utah. And those are the actual charges themselves. So he's been charged with 2 first-degree felonies. And the offense is from January 1st, 1992. So you'll see that is a long time ago. It's not like this is a hop, skip, and a jump case, but it is a situation that I think is interesting because I've dug pretty far into the background here. One thing that I think people have missed in this case is that
he enjoyed it.
No, Jared Lysick pretty much did admit to this. And I think a lot of people have kind of glazed over it or missed it, but there was a series of emails that were leaked that are confirmed to be sent by Jared to the cousin in question. And the cousin sent these big, longer, paragraphed out emails, and he responded. And those responses, in them, he admits that what he did was bad. Admits to that, it is, in my opinion, as much of an admission as I need to know that this guy is fucking guilty, allegedly. But it's really fucked. It's a fucked situation for a ton of reasons, because I do think that what they were doing was actually good. Like, they were out there finding people's missing fucking kids.
I thought you were talking about what he and the girl were doing. And
no.
What kind of details did you have?
No.
Wholesome.
Like
they were really talented, because she was so small.
Oh, Tyler.
It makes it look
Tyler
so
Yonke,
big,
go on Tower Power Hour.
I've been like 3 times.
I know, right? I have never been on Tower Power.
Well, that's because you shuddered at my joke. Anyway, keep going.
So they got I think what Adventures with Purpose was doing was actually a really good thing, and I think it proves some libertarian points because, funny enough, because they were out there doing with a private business what charities fail at, and what the government fails at.
They just found a girl up here in Truckee.
Just literally like last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was. So it's one of those things where I want so badly for this thing to continue without this dude. Like, they're, hopefully the people who are involved in the search teams and everything just get together and recreate a new channel and start the whole thing over again, because it really does do a lot of good. But what has happened because of this is all these YouTubers came out to talk about their experiences with the guy, because a bunch of people had to leave the company and things like that. And what it came out to is that, they were running it like a business. He looked at these people as businesses. He would go to locations where they knew there weren't going to be people found, just so that they could film things like that.
Business.
Some people think that that's morbid and horrible and bad, and that is what it is. I don't have an issue with that. They're making a reality TV show, and at the same time, they were finding missing people's kids and missing people who killed themselves, who didn't get burials, things like that. I respect the shit out of that as somebody who's like, I look a lot in the cold case stuff. And so,
if you're a family member and your kids found you care that their motive was a TV show, maybe not.
I don't give a flying fuck. Yeah. And especially if you're a parent who's trying to grieve, with a lot of the families that they go to are families who are not sure if their kid committed suicide or if they just ran away or left, right? So you're giving that family closure and things like that you can't get from anywhere else. So, to me, that's a noble cause for you to build a business around. So I would like to see the thing fucking continue, but I'd also like to see this guy get buried underneath the fucking prison. Because, the first appearance in court is going to be at the end of this month. I know it's going to be streamed, so I plan on doing a stream while it's happening and kind of live reacting.
I'd like to join in on that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be good to have some. I'll see if I can get a couple other lawyers or something to join in.
Do your own law tube.
Yeah.
How old was the girl? I know he was 17.
I think
she
was
like
9.
11. Okay, that's.
I think she was 9, and
Let
it
me
was
see.
like
half your age plus 8. Is that okay?
Fucking goddamn. And then I looked into like
Is
know
that the right
the
math?
details.
It's been so long since I had to do that.
When I looked into the details of the case, I think a lot of people on the front are saying, well, it's so long ago and you don't know the details. Then you start reading about the religious ties and how that plays a role in it. And you realize, oh, this is, and I have a lot of Mormon friends. There's a lot of Mormons in Alaska. This is the kind of thing that they would do, where the family just kind of agrees, hey, we're not going to pursue this. And that's fucking sick on so many fucking levels. So there's that, but also like, I think it's definitely, I would say right now, it looks like this guy is going away for a while because.
Well, for my first thought was there must be not a statute of limitations, and then I kind of looked it up in Utah, and it's a little vague, but it said 21 years for certain things, but I imagine with that, it's not going to be an issue. So
and I think they charged him with technically, because of the way the charge was, they charged him with it's the felony degree or something. There's 2 different charges that they could charge him in this case, but they chose one over the other or something. I'm not sure what the situation was.
And by the way, if you ever look at cases, especially criminal stuff, what was it, like Casey Anthony lady that never found her kid? And I'm trying to remember if that's the one. One of those where they put her up for first degree. They didn't even have the kid. And instead of the prosecutor just going after second or something else that you could get, they going after the big one because that's what, much like Rittenhouse. Instead of lesser charges that you might get him on, you're going to go after the big one. So I don't know why they chose the one they did. Maybe it's because they're making a sensible thing of like, we can't get him on this, but we can get him on this. Also, I imagine they have that email you're talking about. So otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to say, oh, a 9-year-old 30 years later, this is correct. So
my understanding is that the Reddit community, as horrible as Reddit is, did make sure that a lot of that stuff got passed over to the lawyers in that area. So there was the emails, and I think like the direct communications and stuff all got turned over. I don't think it's made it into the court docs yet, but my guess is by the time that first court date rolls around, it will be. And that's going to be pretty fucking damning.
I would, by the way, if people want to see a good thing, I think it's on Netflix, Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. It's about the fundamentalist Mormons. Fantastic. It's disturbing, but it's good.
I've watched like a YouTube synopsis of it, and it was fucking I need to go watch the whole thing because it looked crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, I'm going to be covering the Adventures with Purpose stuff as it kind of develops, but right now I just kind of want to see them. I'd like to see the organization come back from it, but at this point, I think this guy's toast. So it'll be an interesting court case to watch, for sure. Because it'll be, I imagine he's going to fork over some cash, because I know he just bought a big fucking house for like 1.2 million or something that was getting reported on. So my guess is he's got some money for some good lawyers, so it should be a fun court battle.
Right. I couldn't imagine. I mean, it sucks that this happened, especially a 9-year-old, but 30 years later that she feels like she wants to go through this and be out there with it. But it's what it is.
Well, and I will say this, like, for instance, the mother and other people in the family allegedly have been charged before for fraud and specific crimes like that, things that I would lead to me to believe that they're a little bit of scammers. So there is that whole angle. It's going to be interesting to see if there's like some bombshell dropped on his side in court. That would be crazy. So, maybe he has something that refutes stuff.
We don't know what she was wearing, what she might have said to him. Mitigating circumstances.
All right. Well, I think we're going to close everything out there if everybody's
have
good.
Over 13 shots.
over 9,000. Yeah, I know.
They soak.
Wait, you just saying? Yeah, what? I didn't read that at the time. What is it?
They're talking about Amish
that's
people
not
and
Amish,
Mormon,
Mormon.
people, Mormons in the chat and stuff.
Yeah, they wear
Night
their funny
CD.
underwear and they
Sup,
jump on
CD.
down on the bed.
I don't know. I'm not part of that religion.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys have a good night. Anybody want
Thanks,
to plug?
Leighton.
Plugs.
Go ahead, Dickie.
I guess we'll do that.
Just my Twitter, pine_ins. Everybody that's here already follows me, so just stay tuned. I'm finally clipping some stuff. I put a few up tonight, so just stay tuned.
Yeah, and Tyler Yonke on Twitter. I also have a Substack. I'm trying to have a central location for some things. And both Leighton and Dickie came on my Kill Pod with, what's his name? Andy? Yeah, which was a great success. Thoroughly had a good time. If you guys are looking to help Andy still, there's a GoFundMe. You can still help he and Emma. Emma just went back with his dad to Tennessee today. So he said she's super excited. That warms my heart to hear about, so that she's excited, kind of a new adventure. Good thing there. So if you want to help Andy get back to Tennessee with her and all her stuff, there's still got some hurdles to do, some legal stuff. So there you go.
All right, everybody. Have a nice night. Follow me on Twitter. Take it